Let's have a conversation.
I wonder if y'all could even hear any of what I just said. I'm just logging off of work and logging onto this, so excuse me for being slightly my brain is fried. Let's just say that. To put it lightly, my brain is kind of fried. It's the end of the week. It's Friday. I am so glad to have made it to another Friday, and I'm especially glad that my work week is over because y'all should know by now how I feel about work. Work is just something that I have to do in order to live, eat, and pay the bills. Something I was thinking about today, well, something I think about often really, is that a lot of people see all these different things that I do and think that I am driven to be a businessman. And that makes sense. That assumption would make sense because I went to school for business. I got a bachelor's degree in business administration. But that was not really because I wanted to be a businessman. I was following along the footsteps of my dad. My dad ended up getting a master's in business administration. He got his CPA. He was an accountant. I have not done accounting. I mean, I did a couple accounting classes, but I never went into the field. But I did basically go into the business field because that's what he did. And he wanted me to be an accountant like him. And this was kind of a happy medium where I'm like, I'm doing something accounting ish. But it was never my passion to do business. Yeah. And for me, I just have never wanted to do a 9 to 5. Like, this is not, it was never normal for me. It's interesting. I was watching a live the other day, and some people say they came to that realization after working for 15 years or 20 years, 25 years. It was a mindset shift, or I finally realized that this wasn't for me after doing it for all this time. But that was not the case for me in any way, shape, or form. Looked at the 9 to 5 motto when I was a child and said, I don't want to do this. When I was 10, I remember I had a paper route. Um, and the paper route I would go around, it paid me, I don't remember, but let's just say a ballpark figure of something like $100 a month, maybe. And for a 10-year old, that is a lot of money. That was able to buy me my wrestling action figures, and it was able to buy me um, clothes and shoes that I wanted, toys, video games, all that kind of stuff. But with the paper route, the best part was going around to the people's houses and delivering the papers, and especially around holiday times because they were always generous with giving tips. So they would pay for their regular subscription. I would go around to collect the money for their newspaper subscriptions, and then they would throw an extra $20 here, extra $40 here. Here's an extra 20, here's an extra 30, here's an extra 50, like. And I was like, I like this better than the thought of sitting in a cubicle. Like, this is, I get to be active, I get to go around and meet people. I get extra money. I get to choose my route and how many papers that I'm gonna end up delivering. It was kind of the part that I hated was putting those papers together because they would send you a package. One package would have the newspapers, and the other package would have the flyers. So you would have to open up each paper and then put the flyer in there and then roll up the paper, put the rubber band, sometimes put it in the plastic bag. And then I would have to go around in my roller cart and like push the cart all over the neighborhood. But it was a good thing for a 10-year-old to do in the summer. Let's just say that. It was enjoyable. And when I was 13, I moved into a high school dorm. And within the dorm, we had this thing, I believe it was called the Tuck Shop. I don't really know the meaning behind the name, but what was in the shop was since we had a curfew, a certain time we had to be inside and we couldn't go out and go to any stores or anything like that. We had the dean had in his room, in his office, he had a refrigerator and he had some of his drawers where he would buy certain things like cinnamon buns, um, Reese's Pieces, like different snacks, peanuts, like different snacks, and then he would have the fridge, which would have sodas in the fridge, Pepsi, Coke, Sprite, whatever it is, kind of like vending machine items, basically. And they were selling them for like twice the price of what you would buy them for in the store. So my 13-year-old brain had an idea to go to the store myself. And for those of you who are my Canadian followers, the store, I went to Zellers. I guess Zellers doesn't exist over there anymore, but I heard Zellers is possibly making a comeback. But Zellers, for those who don't know what it is, was kind of like the Canadian Walmart. So I went to Zellers, and what I did was I went and I purchased my own sodas. I would purchase the big package of the sodas, and I got my own snacks, some similar to what the dean was selling, and some that the dean was not selling. And I took them all in like a couple of big bags and backpacks. And the store was not right next to the dorm either. It was a good, probably 20-minute walk. So I walked and struggled with all this stuff on my back. And I brought it to the dorm. And mind you, this is funny because my parents don't even know this. My parents don't even know this to this day. Um, I used the money that they gave me for the semester. Like it was almost like for me that was an investment. And I took that money and I bought all that stuff. And I'm like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell this stuff and I'm going to make back what I spent to get it and then some. So that's what I did. You know, I had a room full of cookies, snacks, candies, and sodas. And basically, like for the soda, each can might have been 50 cents a can when I bought it in bulk. And the dean would sell it for like $2 and I would sell it for $1.50. So I'm making $1 profit on each one of those cans that I sell. There's 20 cans in there, and I made like $20. Like I spent, maybe $6, $7. I'm just making up figures here for the sake of it. But let's say I spent like $6, $7, and then I got like $27 from selling it, made like a $20 profit, and I'm like, this makes sense. The stuff just sat in my room as inventory, and then I continuously had people coming in my room. Do you got this? You got this? You got this? Sell it to them, and then I'm making my money that way. I'm continuously making money. There were other ways that I'm not going to get into, but yeah, I had an entrepreneur kind of mindset from then, like 13 years old. And I always said, like, I don't want to have a 9 to 5. I don't want to do a regular 9 to 5 job. I never wanted one. And I honestly never thought I would need one. In my yearbook in eighth grade, I found my eighth grade yearbook the other day, and they had a section that asked all the seniors what they want to do, what their goal or dream is in life. And mine said to be a millionaire. And then I said that my profession was going to be an NBA player. My mom had reminded me at some point in time that when I was little, when I was like 4 or 5, I said that I want to be a doctor. And I was like, Mom, all kids kind of say that. I mean, how many kids actually say at like 4 that they want to become a doctor, and that stays what they want to do throughout life and they end up becoming a doctor? I think that that's just a thing to say at that age. Because you know what? I watched the Cosby Show, so I was probably like, man, Dr. Huxtable is cool. So I want to be a doctor so I can live in a nice big house like the one they live in, and, be rich and just living my best life. It was amazing how they actually did the jobs that they did, like a doctor and a lawyer, but still had so much time to be at home raising the kids, raising all those kids and having all those kids, and then raising grandkids. And that's neither here nor there. But I remember when I first got started into the 9 to 5 life, I was like, what is this, man? Like, this is so draining to my life. I said to myself, how did my parents do this? How did my grandparents do this for so many years? How can you dedicate 30 to 40 years of your life doing a process like this? It's just not for me. It's just not for me. And I have never stopped feeling that way. I have never stopped feeling that way. So that was a big roundabout way of saying that for me, all these different things that you see me do, this YouTube page that I started up, um, public speaking that I've done photography, freelance videography. I have performed. I performed in several different places. I performed at a wedding before. I performed in the gym. Um, at a big mental health conference in front of maybe 1,000 people. I've done a lot of different things, but all of those things are towards finding something. And that thing that I'm trying to find is that merger between my passions and my means to live. Because now I'm at the point, I used to just leave jobs because I don't feel passionate at the job. And at 35, I know I can't do that anymore because, like, I can't depend on anyone else, mom and dad, whoever else, grandma. I can't depend on anyone to pay my bills, make sure my car note gets paid, and make sure that I'm eating and all that kind of good stuff. It's all me. So I have to stay in the 9 to 5 life until I find the alternative that funds my life consistently without the 9 to 5. But I will tell you guys one thing, like, at this point in time, I can never see that search ending for me. Sometimes I do think to myself, I'm like, Mark, what if you spend your whole life searching for something that you never find? What if you do your 9 to 5 and you always have these dreams on the side, and you work on these projects, and you reach out to all these people every day in their inbox for interviews. You figure out these different videos you want to do. You complete all these different races. You put the footage together. You travel. You do this and this and that. And I think of something that Kenny Santucci from The Challenge said to me, because we recorded a workout together. I did two workouts with him. One of them I just did, and one I recorded. And we were talking when the recording was done. And he said to me, he was never about that 9 to 5 life either. And he said that he got to a point in time in his life before he opened up his gym where he was like, if I'm going to fail in life at doing anything, I'd rather it be this. I want to fail forward. And those words have stayed in my mind. Those words have definitely stayed in my mind because I've been thinking to myself about all the different things that I have done in the last 4 to 5 months since the time I really started dedicating time towards this page. And I don't lie to anybody. This page has not produced me thousands and thousands of dollars. And as a matter of fact, I have invested more money into this page than money made by far. I've probably put 4 times, 4 to 5 times when we're talking about video equipment, microphone. When I go to these different things and I have them recorded, paying the videographer, paying for my StreamYard subscription to do these streams. I have a Canva subscription to make my thumbnails. There's just a lot of different things that I have invested money in, and I've put in 5 or 6 times more than what I have gotten out of this in terms of money wise. However, if I also think about the things that I have done, and I'm probably going to forget some, but I interviewed Ayana Mackins, Wes Bergman, Alyssa Lopez, John Brennan. I interviewed Chaz from The Circle. I traveled to Los Angeles to complete a race. I traveled to Miami to complete a race. I did several in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, several different races. I went to a Big D birthday bash from Big Brother in Philadelphia. I went to 4 to 5 Challenge Mania events where I met and connected with different challengers. And I've done support groups. I created support groups. I successfully got this page monetized. There's just a lot of things that I've done in a short time, and it's because of an endless pursuit of my passion. And the pursuit of my passion has brought me out of myself. During this time period, my fitness became the best that it's ever been. I ventured out more because I am a homebody. It doesn't look like it on this page because since I've started this page, I'm always out somewhere and I'm always doing something. And to an extent, I was kind of I wasn't always home. I'm like a homebody that has to stay at home 24/7. I do have a need to be out sometimes, but I'm out more often, much more often because of this. Networking, things that I wasn't doing before. These musical performances, gigs, certain things that I'm doing. Some things I've done just because of this page and just because of pursuit of happiness and pursuit of passions. So if I spend my whole life working, but then also working on myself, self-work, traveling, networking, exercising, doing music, taking pictures, doing projects, and doing self-work. What's the worst that could happen? I will be somebody who did a whole lot of things with my life. And if God permits me to live to an old age, I'll have a lot of things to look back on and say, look at what I've done. Versus maybe a person who's like, I'm dedicating my whole life to the bag. I'm doing whatever it takes to get the maximum amount of money possible. A lot of those people, they figure out how to get to the bag. They get the money. They figure out how to get to the money and they have the money. But they never really took the time to enjoy life and find purpose. So I would rather be the person who perpetually just has enough to get by, but is filled with happiness, love, and pursuit of things that I enjoy and things that I find to be fulfilling for me versus the person who's like, I'm just doing whatever I have to do to get to the money. And then they get to the end and they're like, well, what did I do? I worked this job. I got this money. I did these investments. But what did I gain? What did I learn? What did I enjoy? I don't want to be that person. And I've seen people, I talk to people in all walks of life. I'm not shut off to one demographic only. I talk to people who are younger than me. I talk to people who are older than me. I talk to people who are my same age. And the ones that I find are that are older than me that are the most at peace are the ones that have done all the things that they want to do in life. And the ones that I find are anxious are the ones that are trying to get money because there's never enough. You see all these people that are like 80 playing the lotto, and it's like, what are you going to do with that at this point? I mean, obviously at 80, I'm still going to enjoy having $500 million, $100 million, or whatever. But I'm saying at that point in time and at that stage of my life, I would be more concerned about my family, my connections, and, making sure that I talk to my people, friends, family, tell them I love them, passing down advice, those types of things versus, oh, I want to take a big vacation because, yeah. So that was my Friday check-in. And let me know how you guys are doing in the comments when you listen to the replay. Shout out to the replay crew. And I will talk to you all soon. Have a great weekend.